For decades, these machines provided the backbone of Soviet aviation, bridging the gap between propeller-driven legends and the jet age. This is the definitive collection of every aircraft from the Yakovlev Bureau. Let's begin with early military trainers and combat prototypes. UT-1, single-seat aerobatic trainer from 1936. Demanding flight characteristics prepared Soviet pilots for high-performance fighters. Over 1,000 built, many aces learned advanced maneuvers in this nimble wooden aircraft. UT-2, primary trainer, serving from 1935 through World War II. 2 seats, stable handling, forgiving characteristics for beginners. Approximately 7,000 produced, training the bulk of Soviet wartime pilots before frontline service. UT-3, twin-engine trainer, developed 1938 for navigation and bombing instruction. Crews practiced multi-engine procedures before transitioning to combat bombers. Limited production focused on specialized crew training needs. UT-21, late 1930s experimental trainer featuring retractable landing gear mimicking modern fighters. Advanced design testing new concepts. Never entered production, but influenced later Yakovlev designs significantly. Let's move on to World War II fighters and prototypes. Yak-1, foundation of Yakovlev's World War II fighter family, entering service 1940. Lightweight, mixed construction, combined wood and metal. Over 8,700 built, proving effective against German fighters throughout Eastern Front. Yak-3, introduced 1944 as ultimate low-altitude dogfighter. Exceptional power-to-weight ratio and maneuverability below 13,000 feet. French Normandy Niemen pilots called it their favorite fighter, claiming air superiority. Now this is the Yak-5, experimental single-seat trainer variant developed from Yak-7 fighter. Retained fighter characteristics while serving training role. Limited production numbers, focusing on advanced pilot preparation. Yak-7, originally 2-seat trainer, converted to single-seat fighter in 1941. Sturdy construction suited rough field operations. Over 6,000 produced, serving frontline units alongside Yak-1 throughout war. Yak-9, most produced Soviet fighter, with 16,769 built during World War II. Versatile design spawned numerous variants, including long-range escorts, tank busters, and heavy cannon versions. Served from 1942 through war's end. Continuing with bombers, interceptors, and heavy fighters. Yak-2, twin-engine light bomber, entering service 1940. Sleek design offered good speed, but suffered mechanical reliability issues. Quickly superseded by Yak-4 and other more robust designs. Yak-4, improved twin-engine bomber with more powerful M105 engines from 1941. Limited production, around 100 aircraft. Soviet tactical doctrine shifted toward ground attack aircraft, ending bomber development. Up next, Yak-25, first Soviet all-weather jet interceptor, entering service 1952. Large nose radar enabled night and bad weather operations. Twin engines mounted under swept wings, over 600 built. Yak-26, tactical bomber variant developed from Yak-25 platform in mid-1950s. Streamlined fuselage, optimized for high-speed, low-level strikes. Limited production, focusing on specialized tactical reconnaissance and bombing roles. Yak-27, supersonic reconnaissance variant, developed 1958, reaching Mach 1.2. Specialized cameras and sensors for high-altitude photo missions. Speed made interception difficult, serving Soviet reconnaissance needs through 1960s. Yak-28, supersonic tactical bomber, serving 1960-1992. Distinctive bicycle landing gear, long, slender fuselage, swept wings. Multiple variants included bombers, reconnaissance, electronic warfare, and trainers throughout Cold War. Next on the list is post-war piston and early jet fighters. Yak-15, one of USSR's first jet fighters, first flight, 1946. Combined German-derived RD-10 turbojet with Yak-3 airframe. Simple conversion enabled rapid jet fighter deployment, approximately 280 produced. Yak-17 improved Yak-15 with tricycle landing gear replacing tailwheel configuration in 1947. Better visibility during takeoff and landing, around 430 built, primarily serving as jet transition trainers. Yak, 19,194-7 prototype, featuring fuselage-mounted engine replacing underwing pod design. First Soviet aircraft with afterburner installed. Never entered production, serving as testbed for new technologies instead. Yak-23, lightweight jet fighter entering service 1949 with distinctive barrel fuselage. Excellent climb rate and maneuverability below 16,000 feet. Approximately 310 built, exported to Eastern Bloc nations. Moving on to vertical takeoff and landing combat aircraft. Yak-36, experimental VTOL technology demonstrator, first flying 1963. Twin lift jets provided vertical thrust for hovering. Proved concept feasibility, leading to operational Yak-38 development later. Yak-38, Soviet carrier-based VTOL fighter, serving 1976-1991. Main engine plus 2 lift jets enabled vertical operations. limited range and payload, approximately 230 built for Kiev-class carriers. YAK-141, supersonic VTOL fighter prototype, first flying 1987. Vectoring main engine nozzle plus lift jets. Set multiple VTOL records, but cancelled 1991 due to Soviet collapse. Let's move on to military transports, gliders, and liaison aircraft. Yak-6, light twin-engine utility aircraft, serving 1942-1945. Wooden construction for night bombing, liaison, and supply missions. Simple, rugged design, operated from rough frontline airfields throughout Eastern Front. Yak-8, post-war development of Yak-6 with larger cabin and improved aerodynamics. Limited production as civil transport candidate. Newer designs quickly superseded it in late 1940s. Yak-10, high-wing utility aircraft from 1948 for liaison and light transport. Excellent visibility and short-field performance. Used for mail delivery, air ambulance, and various utility roles across USSR. Yak-12, legendary STOL utility aircraft, first flying 1947. Over 4,800 built for agriculture, training, skydiving, and liaison. Rugged design, operated from unprepared strips throughout Soviet Union for decades. Yak-14, heavy assault glider, developed 1948, carrying 35 troops or light vehicles. Could transport jeeps, anti-tank guns, or supplies silently. Approximately 400 built for Soviet airborne forces. Yak-16, twin-engine passenger transport prototype from 1947, carrying 10-12 passengers. Sleek design for local routes. Never entered production due to competition from other designs. Next up, military jet and piston trainers. Yak-11, advanced piston trainer. Entering service 1947, based on Yak-3 fighter. Radial engine providing 570 horsepower. Over 3,800 built. Widely exported, training pilots through 1960s worldwide. Then, Yak-17V, two-seat jet trainer variant of Yak-17 fighter from 1948. Allowed jet transition training with instructor aboard. Approximately 180 built, introducing pilots to jet aircraft operations. Yak-18, primary trainer, first flying. 1946, serving over 40 years. Trained Yuri Gagarin and countless Soviet pilots. Over 8,500 built in multiple variants for basic flight training. Yak-20, lightweight trainer prototype from 1949, designed for simplicity and low cost. Nimble handling but limited production numbers. Other designs proved more successful in competition. Yak-21, two-seat jet trainer developed from early fighter designs in late 1940s. Helped transition pilots from piston to jet engines. Limited production supporting Soviet jet training programs. Yak-30, jet trainer prototype from 1960, competing for Soviet military contract. Excellent performance during testing, with clean aerodynamics. Lost competition to Czechoslovakian L-29 Delfin, ultimately. Yak-32, single-seat aerobatic variant of Yak-30 from 1961. Set multiple FAI world records for altitude and speed in class. Demonstrated high performance but no production orders. Yak-52, aerobatic trainer, first flying 1976, still widely used today. Over 1,800 built for military training and civilian aerobatics. Robust radial engine design, beloved by pilots worldwide. Yak-130, modern advanced jet trainer, entering service 2010. Digital fly-by-wire, simulating characteristics of various fighters. Currently trains Russian Air Force pilots for Su-30, Su-35, Su-57 operations. Yak-152, primary trainer, first flying 2016, replacing older Yak-52. Diesel engine, reducing fuel costs, modern avionics. Prepares students for digital cockpits before advancing to Yak-130. Yak-200, twin-engine trainer project from 1950s from multi-engine pilot instruction. Stable platform teaching navigation and coordination. Limited information available on production numbers. Yak-210, navigator and radar operator training variant based on twin-engine platform. Specialized equipment for bomber crew training. Prepared backseat crews for heavy aircraft operations. Yak-28U, training variant of Yak-28 bomber. Designated Maestro by NATO. Tandem cockpit for instructor and student. Converted bombers provided realistic supersonic training for operational crews. Next on the list is military helicopters, e.g. early experimental helicopter from 1947, testing rotor systems and vertical flight. Pioneering Yakovlev design, exploring rotary wing aviation. Helped engineers understand helicopter flight physics fundamentals. The next one, Yak-24, tandem rotor heavy transport helicopter, serving 1955-1966. Carried 40 troops or equivalent cargo loads, approximately 40 built, nicknamed Flying Wagon for large capacity. Yak-60, proposed massive tandem rotor helicopter from 1960s design studies. Would have been Soviet Union's largest helicopter by far. Never progressed beyond conceptual design phase. Yak-100, prototype rescue and transport helicopter from 1948, resembling Western designs. 2 examples built before program cancellation. Demonstrated Yakovlev's rotary wing design capabilities briefly. Now let's look at unmanned aerial vehicles. Pachela 1T, tactical reconnaissance UAV, entering service 1990. Rocket-assisted takeoff from mobile launcher. Real-time video transmission to ground stations for battlefield surveillance missions. CLEST, high-speed research drone, testing aerodynamic concepts and flight characteristics. Helped engineers develop understanding of small unmanned aircraft behavior. Contributed to Soviet UAV technology advancement. Up next, Voron, long-range reconnaissance UAV project from late Soviet era. Name meaning Raven reflected intelligence-gathering mission. Designed for deep penetration flights over hostile territory. Then, Oyate, tactical observation UAV project featuring advanced camera systems for reconnaissance. Demonstrated Yakovlev's growing unmanned technology focus. Explored capabilities before larger strategic programs developed. Oriole, endurance-focused UAV named Eagle, designed for extended surveillance missions. Long loiter times over specific areas for persistent monitoring. Prioritized flight duration over speed. ProRiv, stealth UAV concept featuring low radar cross-section design. Sleek aerodynamic shape minimizing detection probability. Represented advanced unmanned combat aerial vehicle thinking. Now this is the Altius, modern high-altitude long-endurance UAV under development. Capable of 24-hour missions at high altitude. Provides persistent intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance for Russian forces. And our last category is experimental and unbuilt prototypes. YAK-13, utility and trainer aircraft project, based on earlier light aircraft designs. Offered reliable training and liaison capabilities. Limited production for specific military applications. YAK-25-1, early jet interceptor prototype with underwing engine pods from late 1940s. Tested concepts for dedicated interceptor designs. Influenced development of later production fighters significantly. The next one, YAK-31, nimble jet trainer prototype, demonstrating excellent handling characteristics. Clean aerodynamic design showed promise during testing. Competition from other designs prevented production adoption. YAK-35, supersonic interceptor design from 1950s for high-speed threat interception. Explored high-performance capabilities and advanced aerodynamics. Remained experimental without entering production. The next one, YAK-39, proposed improved VTOL fighter with upgraded radar and larger wing area. Would have enhanced YAK-38 capabilities significantly. Never proceeded beyond design studies, unfortunately. YAK-43, advanced supersonic VTOL fighter project from late 1980s. Designed for superior speed and agility over predecessors. Soviet economic collapse ended development before prototype construction. YAK-44, carrier-based airborne early warning aircraft project, featuring distinctive rotating radome, would have provided over-the-horizon radar coverage for carrier groups. Cancelled with Admiral Kuznetsov modifications. YAK-45, heavy interceptor concept with twin engine pods for long-range border defense, designed protecting Soviet airspace from bomber threats. Remained paper study without physical construction. YAK-51, early swept-wing jet prototype with bicycle landing gear from late 1940s. Tested high-speed flight characteristics and aerodynamic concepts. Never entered production despite promising test results. Then, YAK-1000, experimental rocket-powered aircraft from 1951 with razor-thin delta wing, explored transonic and supersonic flight regimes. Research testbed investigating high-speed aerodynamic phenomena. Then, YAK-140, lightweight fighter competing against MiG-21 in late 1950s. Extremely agile with simple, robust construction. Government selected MiG design despite YAK-140's excellent performance. YAK-201, fifth-generation stealth VTOL fighter concept with low radar signature. Designed operating from small, unprepared sites. Advanced conceptual design showing future aviation possibilities. Up next, VVP-6, massive vertical takeoff platform concept using multiple lift engines. Designed transporting heavy missile systems to remote locations. One of aviation history's most unusual conceptual designs.